So today we're going to talk about rates. There's lots of different rates out there, and we're going to get into the idea. It's not that crazy of a concept, so I want you to stay with me. So the first thing I want you to do is we're going to calculate your heart rate. So here's how you do it. First off, I'm on page 404 if you want to follow along. So here's what you do. There's a couple different places to feel your heartbeat. One is here, and then you have another one just where your neck and your chin meet right there. You can also kind of feel it if you put your hand over your heart too. And so I want you to count the number of times your heart beats in 10 seconds, but make sure you use a watch. And then you're going to record your results as a fraction. Your fraction is going to be the number of beats over time. So you're going to record the number of beats in 10 seconds. And today I'm going to be your partner, and I'm going to count my beats for 15 seconds. And then I'm going to record my results as a fraction, okay? So go ahead and do that right now. Okay, I'm done. I had 17 beats in 15 seconds. My old man heart beats a little bit slower than your youthful heart. And I'm curious how many beats you had in 10 seconds. So for the sake of comparison, let's just say that you had 10 beats in 10 seconds. That's a pretty slow heartbeat, actually. But what we're going to see is that it's hard to compare these fractions. I don't have the same denominator, and so I'm faced with kind of a challenge here. So whose pulse do you think is faster? Do you think it's mine, or think it's yours? And if your number is not 10, then you can look at your own and just kind of ask yourself, well, which one of us has a faster heartbeat? Well, today we're going to talk about this concept called a rate. A rate is a ratio of two quantities measured in different units. So here's a ratio right here. The number of beats to time. Number of beats to time is a ratio. And we have different units. Beat and time are different units. But it's hard to compare them. And so one of the things we can do in math is we can use this concept called a unit rate. A unit rate is a rate that has a denominator of one unit. Here I have a denominator of 10, that doesn't work. Here I have a denominator of 15, that doesn't work either. That's not one. So just to kind of point out what are some examples of unit rates, miles per hour is probably the most common rate that we know of. And so 15 miles to 1 hour is the same thing as 15 miles to 1 hour, which is the same thing as 15 miles per hour. So I have one unit in my denominator, and so this is a unit rate, mile per hour. I don't say 15 miles per 7 hours. You never see that driving down the street. Make sure your speed is only 25 miles in 32 hours. It's always in 1 hour. So how do you find a unit rate? Well, first you have to find a rate. You have to know what it is, your ratio of two quantities that are measured in different units. So what are the units and what are the quantities? Write your rate. And then you're going to divide by your denominator. And if you divide by the denominator in the numerator and the denominator, you can find out what the unit rate is. So in the book, they give us this example of the kudzu vine, which is all over Hawaii and is just the worst. I pull it out all the time. We have it in our garden as well. And so during peak growing season, the kudzu vine can grow 6 inches in 12 hours. What is the peak growth rate of the kudzu in inches per hour? So I'm going to write down my ratio that I have to start, which is 6 inches in 12 hours. 6 inches to 12 hours. That's my ratio of two quantities measured in different units, inches and hours. So I found my rate. Next, I'm going to divide my denominator and my numerator by my denominator to get my unit rate. Unit rate, single, 1 unit in the bottom. So I divide by 12 on the bottom, I divide by 12 on the top, and I end up with 0.5 inches per hour. This is called a unit rate. And this actually makes me a little bit happy too to see that. It's easier for me to understand 0.5 in 1 hour, mainly because I know how long an hour is, than 6 inches in 12 hours. It's like half a day. It's hard for me to kind of wrap my head around. Our brains naturally kind of associate unit rates with things making sense because we use them all the time. Miles per hour, words per minute, hours per night. There's all these different things that we use to as unit rates. So let's go back to our example. So we're going to say your heartbeat is 10 beats per 10 seconds. So to find your unit rate, if you remember, I divide by the denominator and the numerator. So I'm going to divide by 10 in both the denominator and the numerator. And I end up getting 1 beat per second. My unit rate, I need to divide by my denominator again, 15 and 15. And then as you heard just the other day, we get to use our handy dandy calculators. So let's go to our handy dandy calculator. 15, oh, my calculator's not working. Great. So my unit rate would be, how many times can 15 go into 17? 1 point something. Well, I guess you get to watch Mr. Canapeel do long division. You do not have to do long division. You get to do work with a calculator. Mine's not next to me, so I'm actually recording on my calculator. So it goes in once, 15, it's 2, bring down the 0, goes in once, 15. Right, bring down the 0, goes in 3 times, and that's 45. And so that would be 5, and I think I'm going to stop there. So I have 1.13. My unit rate is 1.13 beats per second. So now it is time to figure out how to do average. So averages are very similar to finding a unit rate. You quite simply just, if you know the distance that you've traveled and the time that it takes, you can just find the average by dividing the distance by the time. So this is the next concept. It's called averages. So average speed is a good one. And most cars actually have this as a function now. As you're driving along, it'll tell you what your average speed is, but your speed can change when you drive a car. And so to find average speed, you take your distance, miles is what we use in the United States, and you divide it by your time. Distance divided by time equals average speed. And we write this as a unit rate. Okay, cool. So the last concept I want to talk about is comparing unit rates. Comparing unit rates. I'm on page 405 on example 3. So on page 405, example 3, they say pasta. A store sells the same pasta the following 2 ways. 10 pounds of bulk pasta for $15 and 2 pounds of packaged pasta for $3.98. To determine which is the better buy, find the unit price for both types. Okay, so let's do it. So first off, bulk pasta, I've got, let's find out what the unit price is. So for bulk pasta, I need to do my rate first, and my rate is $15. I'm gonna do price to weight for 10 pounds. So there's my bulk pasta. And my packaged pasta, I'm gonna do my price again, same rate. Price, which is $3.98 to weight, to 2 pounds. So think for a sec, just looking at these, which one do you think would be a better deal? Well, I know one way to find it out. Let's figure out what a unit rate is. How do you find the unit rate? Hopefully you're remembering that you divide by the denominator. So let's divide by the denominator, divide by the denominator, divide by the denominator, and divide by the denominator. Now I'm gonna have the same unit rate. I'm gonna have 1 pound as my response. So bulk pasta actually is $1.50 per 1 pound. This is a 1. And for packaged pasta, it's actually $1.99. If you divide 3.98 by 2, you'll get $1.99 per 1 pound. And then you can actually see, well, actually, which one of these is a better deal? Well, I'd much rather pay $1.50 versus $1.99. I mean, there's also the conversation of who needs 10 pounds of pasta. But if we're asking strictly about which is the best deal, this is how you can compare unit rates. This is a better buy. It's less expensive than $1.99. So now I want you to practice guided practice problems on page 405. And I want you to do numbers 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, you're gonna write a unit rate. Number 2, you're gonna figure out average speed, dividing distance by time. And then lastly, I want you to compare costs for number 3. And then your homework tonight is posted on Plus Portal. So make sure you send me your guided practice and any questions you might have. I wanna make sure that you got it ready to go and that you're a happy camper. And after that, feel free to knock out your homework any way you like, and make sure you send that to me by that needs to be to me by next Tuesday, and whatever that date is. I don't have it right in front of me. But I hope you guys are doing well, and I look forward to seeing your work, and we'll see you soon.